inside the Niger Delta.
And now to events leading to the PDP governorship primaries. Our former chairman of the Bayelsa Internal Revenue Service, Dr. Nimbofa Ayawe, says he is in the governorship race to shore up the state's revenue profile and create wealth for the generality of Bayelsans. Dr. Nimbofa, who is pursuing his governorship ambition on the platform of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), intends to realize his vision with the focus on critical aspects of Bayelsa economy.
Dr. Nimbofa Ayawe, under whose chairmanship the Bayelsa Internal Revenue Service increased its monthly revenue profile from about 300 million naira to over 1 billion naira after the 2017 tax reforms, promises to further raise the benchmark to over 3 billion naira as the next governor of Bayelsa State. He says Bayelsans don't need to be overtaxed to realize his vision, as he plans to further open up the state for commerce and industry to thrive in the oil and gas-rich state.
We can develop brass to be the bunny of Bayelsa State. Now you know that if brass is so close to the Atlantic Ocean and Bayelsa has about 90% of all the offshore operations of oil within the Niger Delta area, then we can also move all crews. By the time we have helipads built within Brass Island, instead of companies using Port Harcourt or Warri to move their staff to the offshore oil fields, they will be moving from Brass because it's shorter. From Brass to the farthest oil facilities within 35 minutes by chopper. But if you're moving from Port Harcourt, it's over 1 hour. So mathematically, it's realistic. If we're able to open that space, that frontier, we can, as a matter of fact, increase our internally generated revenue from where we are, from about 1 billion, 1.2 billion to over 3.5 billion naira. When once there is road to Brass, it's open. You don't need anybody to develop it, it will develop itself. Your own is to plan the environment for them to strive and do well. We are good to go.
Dr. Ayawe is of the view that it will take an operation of the right fiscal policies to ensure that state funds are utilized to benefit the people. To this end, he plans to maintain and improve upon the policy of transparency and accountability introduced by the Dixon administration.
In every single bank, we have a NIGER account. You can just walk into the counter and say you want to pay revenue, and then the receipt is automated. But once we introduce that, the taxpayers themselves are more confident that this money is not going to a private pocket. You know that it is going straight to government account. So they are confident. But I also know that our people are poor. We can't take so much from them again. There is only one frontier. That frontier is the Atlantic Ocean. And for us to harness the potentials of the Atlantic Ocean, brass must be opened up.
In the forthcoming PDP primaries, Dr. Ayawe enjoins other governorship hopefuls to put the interests of the party above personal considerations.
Everybody would need to close ranks and work with whoever that will eventually emerge as the governorship candidate of the party, the flag bearer. Because even if A survives it, 20 of them will be against the person. Because for every one winner, there are 20 persons that will feel shortchanged. So we need to close ranks.
Dr. Nimbofa Ayawe, immediate past chairman of the Bayelsa Internal Revenue Service, is a one-time commissioner of Housing and Urban Development and former member of the Bayelsa State House of Assembly.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Having reached out to delegates across the 105 political wards in Bayelsa State, Ambassador Godknows Igali is confident about victory in the forthcoming governorship primaries of the People's Democratic Party (PDP). Ambassador Igali, in an interview with Inside the Niger Delta, maintains that the groundswell of support he enjoys from the people is on account of their trust in his ability to make life more meaningful for them.
With the governorship primaries of the PDP just around the corner, Ambassador Igali is confident of the support of delegates with whom he has interacted closely ahead of the contest.
The response has been overwhelming. The response has been beyond our expectation. I expected good support, but the support is a people's movement, it's a mass movement. From the level of the delegates to the people in the streets of the state capital to the rural areas, because the people have been yearning for a candidate that is matured, a candidate that is tested, a candidate that is experienced, but not only about experience and maturity or exposure, but it's a candidate with a vision of the tomorrow, a vision for the future. Beyond that, at the third level, is a candidate that has the ability to bring that vision to pass.
For the retired civil servant and career diplomat, the forthcoming governorship election is about the future of Bayelsa State, which should be entrusted only with those with the capacity and integrity to govern the state.
It's about the future of Bayelsa State. Whom can you entrust and go and sleep in peace and enjoy your old age with dignity and safety? And our children can grow with dignity, health, and optimism about life. That is governance. Improving life of our people, giving Bayelsa a cutting edge. Nigeria is going to be more competitive. Regionalism, statism will become very much in front. All this going to Abuja to beg will be over. What can you count? Whom will you count? Which delegates? So when you go to vote that day, 3 things in your mind. God, number 1. 2, your children and your grandchildren. Number 3, about the future of Bayelsa or of our job people.
Having been involved in policy formulation and decision-making at the highest levels of governance on the local and international scene, Ambassador Igali has a full grasp of the concept of sustainable development which will happen in Bayelsa State with him in the saddle as governor.
My dream, my vision, my hope is to make Bayelsa the state which will stand out as an island in Nigeria in terms of, or a trailblazer rather, in terms of the attainment of the sustainable development goals. Living in the 21st century as people of the 21st century, in human development and human welfare, in infrastructure development, in industrial and economic development, in peace and security, and on the matters concerning the environment and climate change, and on matters concerning our job people.
As a true party man, the former secretary to the Bayelsa State government promises his unflinching support for the PDP, which he describes as the only party that embodies the true aspirations of Bayelsans.
Inside the Niger Delta.
If he secures the ticket of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and is eventually elected governor of Bayelsa State, Kamela Okara, secretary to the Bayelsa State government, intends to operate in accordance with the sacredness of governance. Okara made the pledge while speaking to our crew during one of his political engagements in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State capital.
When I become the governor of Bayelsa State, by God's grace, I become the governor of all Bayelsans, irrespective of party affiliation. You know, to be a governor is a very sacred responsibility. You can't be partial, because even God will judge you.
Mr. Okara, whose governorship ambition is said to be driven by the love of his people and the passion to develop Bayelsa State, has concluded plans to exploit the state's vast potentials in agriculture and gas resources for rapid industrialization and economic growth.
I think for me, the essence of governance is tied to giving every man, woman, and child an opportunity for self-actualization, an opportunity to fulfill their destiny, an opportunity to express themselves. That for me is the heart of development. And so when I think of governance, what I think about all the time is what can I do or what can I be part of that helps everybody to make their lives worth living, to have a meaningful life. At the heart of what I want to do as governor of Bayelsa State is to ensure that we have the context, the economic context for everybody to be gainfully occupied. Creating industries, attracting businesses, expanding the local economy so that everybody can be gainfully occupied.
Prominent in Okara's agenda for development of Bayelsa State is a deliberate policy to encourage self-employment.
So what we need to do really is to put the right policies in place that would create jobs. And then for many other people who don't necessarily have to be employed, they can be self-employed. And when I was Commissioner for Trade, I managed the 2 billion naira micro and small business fund, which provided loans to over 3,000 persons in Bayelsa State. We can keep doing that so that more young, enterprising Bayelsans have access to loans at very cheap interest rates. That one, for instance, the interest rate was under 10%, it was 9%. Provide that on a large scale for people. Somebody wants to set up a food business, they want to set up a restaurant, they want to do some fast food. I know young people. There's a guy, for instance, who works with me as a photographer. He told me how he set up in front of his studio a barbecue service. And he says before he knows something, he was running out of, he was doing so well, getting people overwhelmed. So the opportunities are there. We need to focus our people on identifying these opportunities and taking advantage of them. That for me is the key thing to do.
A one-time Commissioner of Trade, Investments and Industry in Bayelsa State, Okara had practiced law for over 20 years and was on the board of several companies before he ventured into politics.
Inside the Niger Delta.